Fellow professors, are you asking yourself, what if AI doesn't just help students cheat? What if it makes learning itself completely optional? In this video, I'm going to show you how I use NotebookLM to ensure AI is making learning stronger, not optional. Welcome to the AI Professor. I'm Chris. I'm going to be real with you right now. When AI first exploded into classrooms, my fear was not just cheating. Every professor I talked to was worried about that, but that wasn't my deepest fear. My deepest fear was that students would stop wrestling with the material altogether. And I worried that polished AI output would replace real comprehension. I worried that I'd stand in front of a class, ask a question, and get nothing back. Not because they hadn't done the assignment, but because a tool had done it for them, and they never really actually had to think. What scared me most wasn't that students could use AI, it was that they could use it to get around learning. Honestly, a lot of the early AI tools I looked at confirmed that fear. I'm sure you feel the same way. ChatGPT, Gemini, they all feel like shortcut machines. All you have to do is give it a prompt and you get a polished answer. Copy and paste, then submit. No thinking required. So, like a lot of you, I started digging, trying tool after tool, hoping something would feel different. Most of them didn't, and then one did. And when I found it, I knew I had to bring it back to this community. I want to tell you about NotebookLM. This was the first AI tool I used where I thought, okay, this might actually make students engage more. Here's why it's different from everything else I'd tried. Most AI tools pull from the entire internet. Students ask a question, they get an answer from anywhere and everywhere, and there's no connection back to what you actually taught. NotebookLM only works from the materials you upload. Your textbook chapters, your lecture notes, your readings, that's it. That's its whole world. And when it answers a question, it cites back to those exact sources. Think about that for a second. It's like office hours that never close or a personalized tutor. Instead of guessing or going to Google, students are being pushed back into your material every single time they ask something. This is the first time I used an AI tool and thought, this isn't replacing learning, it's supporting it. So let me show you how exactly it works. NotebookLM is free, you just need a Gmail account to get started.
So this is a notebook for one of my courses in public safety integration. I create a separate notebook for each module of my course, which means I'm not uploading the entire textbook at once. I'm uploading specific chapters and course materials relevant to that week. So whatever I add to the sources over here, that's the only thing this particular notebook is going to work from. So you can see here that I have some of the chapters and some background on the book. You can also add, maybe you want some really great websites to be here or some journal articles that you found on the web. And so you can add those sources by searching here. Or if you have files that you wish to add, you just click here and you can either choose from the website or you can upload files. You can even include YouTube videos right here. So this notebook itself is based on these sources over here. The beauty of it is that you have all of these options to create for your students. And you would just click here and it would create them based on the sources you have checked over here. So if you only want, say, the audio overview to cover just chapters 1 and 2, you would only click those two things and then you would click the audio overview. It does take a few minutes to create these, and so I have already done those here for you, and I'm going to show them to you very quickly. So I want to go ahead and show you what this can create based on the sources that you've uploaded into this notebook. So this first one is a video. You're able to download it and you're able to share it as a link. You can also share this entire notebook with your students up here under share. So let's take a quick look at this video. It's based on the 5 sources over here. You can see it says 5 sources.
Doesn't work. Or maybe more importantly, what happens in those first few minutes, even hours, before that system can even get there? We're going to explore what a truly integrated response looks like, and you might be surprised where it actually begins. So picture this. It's the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida, back on June 12th, 2016. It's just a normal night, and then suddenly a loud pops just cut right through the music. For a few seconds, nobody really knows what's happening. Is it just part of the show? But then there are more shots, and all that confusion just turns to absolute terror. And that quote right there, that is the absolute core of what we're talking about today.
The next thing I want to show you is this is a slide deck that it created based on just chapters 1 and 2, the 2 sources here. And you can see it is an awesome slide deck that you could use in your lecture. You can also share this with your students so they can use it as a study tool. This is a podcast type overview of the sources. I'll play a little bit of it for you.
We have some heavy case studies on the docket. Pulse nightclub, 9/11, the MEV bombing in Philadelphia.
Oh, that Philadelphia case study is a tough read. It really, really challenges your assumption of what public safety agencies are even for.
It's unbelievable.
So as you can see, it's a podcast with 2 hosts, and they talk and banter back and forth. There's also a way for you to assign it as an interactive mode. And here, students are able to actually join and ask questions of the hosts. Here are flashcards on chapters 1 and 2 that it automatically developed for me, and you click on it to see the answer. So this is an awesome study tool for your students. And here is a quiz also for your students that they can use to kind of self-check to see if they're really understanding the material. You can see here that I've went ahead and answered some of these questions, so you could see where if you don't get the answer correct, it will tell you why it's not correct, and then you can reselect another answer. Up here are all the other options that you're able to produce based solely on these sources. There's a study guide here. You may want to create a blog post on it. So there's a lot of options that you can create for your students. The last thing I want to show you is here. And this is where I can ask it a question, or your students can ask it a question. And the answer is going to be based only on those sources that you've uploaded. It does suggest some questions here that you may want to ask. You can click on those, and as you can see, it provides you with which source that it obtained that information from when answering those questions.
Now let me show you how I actually use this, because showing you the features are one thing, but how you deploy them in a real course is what matters. The first way I use it is for exam review. Upload your lecture slides, your review materials. Let the students use the notebook to ask questions and quiz themselves on the content you already assigned. There's no extra work for you, and they're reviewing your material. The second way I use it is as a Socratic tutor. Instead of handing students a flat study packet, you give them a notebook that questions them back. It doesn't just deliver answers. It can prompt students to think, explain, engage with the material at a deeper level. The last way I use it, and probably I think the most important, is to address students' different modalities of learning. I have students who struggle with dense readings. I can assign a chapter, they read it, but you can tell they didn't fully process it, but they don't always know what to ask. With the notebook, they can take that same chapter, convert it to an audio overview, and listen to it on their commute. They can quiz themselves, ask questions, and get pointed right back to the section they missed. That's not lowering the standard. That's giving more students a way to reach it. Now, for professors, this isn't just a student tool. If you already have solid course materials, you can use it to generate lecture-ready slides and assets faster than building them from scratch. It's using your same grounded content, but in less production time. So just a quick note on sharing your notebook. If you're using a personal Gmail account, you can share notebooks directly with individual students or even enable public sharing. If you're on a school-issued Google Workspace or education account, public sharing may be turned off by your institution's administration. But you can still share internally if your administration has enabled access. Now, just a few things I want to be honest with you about, because I'm not here to sell you on a tool that's going to create new problems. Just like all AI, it's not always right. Treat it like a well-read assistant, not an authority. Review what it produces before you put it in front of students. Don't upload private student documents carelessly. Be thoughtful about what goes into your sources. And this is the big one. Do not confuse study support with learning replacement. If a student uses this tool to avoid your material, you have the exact same problem you started with. But if they use it to interact with your material, now you have something genuinely useful. Here's the analogy I keep coming back to. A GPS doesn't drive the car for you. It just makes sure you're going the right direction. You still have to show up. You still have to steer. You still have to make decisions at every turn. The wrong AI tools are like having someone else drive entirely. Your student sits in the passenger seat. The AI gets them to the destination, and they couldn't tell you a single thing about how they got there. NotebookLM is a GPS. It orients students inside your material. It tells them where they are. It points them back when they drift, and it makes the journey more navigable. But they still have to drive. You're not choosing between AI and learning. You're choosing what kind of AI you put in the car. This isn't a replacement for teaching. It's just one of the few tools I've seen that actually pushes students back into your course material instead of away from it. So, here's my challenge to you. Try it out. It's free. Upload a chapter, your lecture notes, whatever you're already assigning to your students, and let students explore it from there. I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a comment below and tell me what course you teach. I'll personally respond with one specific way I would use NotebookLM in that class. If you want more practical AI strategies built for real professors, consider subscribing. I put out new content every week for educators who are trying to figure this AI thing out without losing the rigor that makes their teaching worth showing up for. See you in the next video.